Yeah, my lovelies, welcome back. Welcome to my Mars bar cheesecake. Oh, okay, 45 degrees, really bloody hot. Thank God the black clouds are start rolling over, so the air conditioner's starting to work, and I thought, gee, I'm in a good mood. I think it's time to make a no-baker. First thing we need is two 250 gram blocks of cream cheese. Now, as usual, I don't have what I need today, so I've got one of these in the fridge, which is a caramilk 250 gram cream cheese. So because it's got Mars bars in it and butterscotch and all that stuff, I don't think this will be out of place in there, so I'm going to use one of each. But yeah, if you can, get your two blocks of cream cheese. Now what we have to do first, the very first thing we do is get a large bowl out, chop them up into that bowl, cover them in Glad wrap and set them aside, so by the time we go to use them later they're at room temperature. Because if you got your cream cheese too hard still and you go to beat it, the shit just goes everywhere and we don't want that. So 21 centimetre one, and we put it aside. We don't have to do anything with it. Now the next thing we need is some plain chocolate biscuits. So I'm using the Ripple ones, 250 grams we need. So if you don't have Ripples wherever you are in the world, just look for biscuits that are just plain chocolate crispy ones, okay? That's what we want. Now we want to crush them down to fine crumbs. So if you've got a, what do you call them, processor, you can do it that way. You can do it with a freezer bag and a rolling pin, or like me, a freezer bag and a hammer. Once we've turned our bickies into crumbs, we set them aside for a minute. We grab out a small saucepan with 150 grams of butter chopped up in it. Now we want to put it on our stove top on low and melt it all down. Once our butter is melted, we pour it into our bickies and we mix it in really well until all the biscuit is wet, and then we dump it in our pan. Okay, once we've dumped it in there, just spread it out. And then with our fingers, you want to just get in and press it all down. Go from the middle, work your way out. And then we want to press it up on the edges as well. I've never been able to get it to go perfect, but once you've got it like that, where you can't see any of the tin, and it's just halfway up or not quite. Now, as you can see, the butter comes through underneath. So sit it on a plate or something. As soon as it goes cold, that'll all harden up and be perfect. So sit that on a plate and then put it in the fridge while we do everything else. Next thing we want to do is we want to get a medium bowl and we want to put 300 ml of cream in there. Now we're going to beat it up near the end, but for now we're going to be taxing it a couple of times. So the next thing we need, just put that aside for a second, is we need to wash out our small saucepan again. We've got to put 2 tablespoons of brown sugar in there and 20 grams of butter. And now out of that cream, we want to take 2 tablespoons and put it in there. So now what we want to do is we want to put it on the lowest heat possible, and we want to melt it down until we can't hear the sugar anymore. It's completely melted in. Okay, so once you can put your spoon on the bottom and you can't hear the sugar crushing anymore, it's done. So there's our butterscotch sauce. Oh yeah, baby. All right, we set that aside. Now the next thing we do is you want to stick your kettle on to boil. While that's boiling, we want to grab a bowl. We want to grab 3. Now, my original recipe is 60 gram Mars bars. So over the last 15-20 years, they've shaved off 7 grams. So they're now 53 gram Mars bars. So we want to get 3 of them and we want to chop them up really, really small, stick them in a bowl and then just chuck them in the fridge for a minute. All right, quick note to self. If you're going to chop your Mars bars up in 45 degrees weather, put them in the fridge first to go cold. Next thing we want to do is get a saucepan that a bowl sits on nicely. We want to half fill it with boiling water. Sit our bowl on there. Now we want to put 50 grams, it's supposed to be of milk chocolate, but whatever chocolate you've got. So I'm just using these choc chip ones today. So, but if you're using the melt ones, the big bud ones, chop them right up. Now we want to get our cream out and rate it again. We want to put 2 tablespoons of cream in it. Alright, just with a teaspoon, mix it in a little bit. Once all the chocolate's mixed into the cream, just sit that aside somewhere and let it do its thing and it will all melt down. 1/4 cup of our boiling water out the kettle into just something little to stir it in. And with that 1/4 cup, we want to put 3 teaspoons of the gelatin in there, and we want to mix it really, really well and keep mixing it really well And don't panic, you'll always get a few little lumps at the end, but we can strain them out. We're almost there, folks, we're almost there. Okay, now we get our cream cheese that's at room temperature. We put half a cup of caster sugar in there. We want to get our electric beater out and beat it up until it's all nice and smooth. Alright, it literally takes half a minute to get it nice and smooth. Once you've got it nice and smooth, set it aside for a minute, but leave your electric beater there. And now we want to grab out our bowl of cream and we want to beat it up until it's thick. Alrighty, once our cream is thick, set that aside for a sec. We're right at the end now, my friends. Okay, now we get our cream cheese. We want to put our cooled down gelatine. See, in the end there's just a couple of little dots. So I'm stuck around there. Alright, now we're just going to mix that through by hand. Once we've mixed it in properly and the cream cheese has absorbed it all, make sure you scrape down your sides. Alright, now put our Mars bar in there. Now we just want to fold our cream in. So put all the cream in there and just do basically what I was doing before. You don't want to stir the crap out of it, you just want to fold it. So we just keep going around like that. Nice and slow and steady until you can't see the cream anymore. So she's still just a little bit wet on the bottom, but that's fine. Okay, so first of all we want to put half of our cheese mix in. Alright, once we've done that, get our butterscotch sauce ready. Take our chocolate off the heat. I have that ready. Wish I had a bigger bench. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to drizzle half of the butterscotch sauce over it. Roughly half. And then we want to drizzle half of the chocolate over it. Once we've done that, add our last of our cheese mix. Get it right over the top. Spread it around all the edges. So once it's cold, you just get a knife and you go around and loosen up the cheesecake on top. Just very gently press it all down. Okay, once you've got it in there, try and get it as flat as you can. Alright, pick it up and drop it a couple of times. Just to get it to all sink into each other. Okay, now we repeat. Butterscotch sauce and then the chocolate. Middle. Whoa, look at that. Look what we just made. Oh yeah, baby. Okay. Now we want to wrap it with Glad wrap without the Glad wrap touching it. And then we want to stick it in the fridge for a minimum of 3 hours. Seeing a beauty out, mate. Get me light. Alright, I thought I pressed record when I was getting it out of the tin, but I did not. So what I did is I used a sharp pointy knife like that. I put it down the side and I pushed it right into the edge all the way around. And just as I got to the last bit, it let go. And then for the base, I just dug like that far in. You can see, just that far there in, all the way around. And then I got it right in there and just slid it all the way around. And it just slid off for me. Oh man. Alright, just going to move this for a minute and I'll cut a slice so you can see it. It's starting to melt already because it's still hot as crap here. Oh. This is just so worth the effort. Oh yeah, baby. Wow, hey. Alright, a little bit of effort, but absolutely worth it. Now, it's supposed to be an 8 serve, but I would definitely say it's a 16 serve. You do not need a big piece. It's nice and sweet. Now, me putting the caramel cream cheese in it, just overtook it. It made it way too sweet. I've made this cheesecake 100 times before. Definitely use all plain cream cheese. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have yourselves a really awesome night. And you know me, I'll be back. Bye.